Hey everyone, Geophysicist Stefan Burns here. We've just had multiple big blasts of energy launched from the sun headed right towards Earth. And so if you think things are already pretty crazy here energetically, the dial may be about to turn to 11 and things could get even more nuts. Sorry to say, but that is looking like it's going to be the case. We just had a big coronal mass ejection launch our way and multiple plasma filaments following right behind. And so we can see that here with our view of the sun. This is sunspot group 4892. You'll see this big shock wave right there from a 2.7 M-class flare, the second strongest type of solar flare, only behind X-class flares. And well, you see that shock wave very clearly. That is pretty much Earth directed. The space weather models for that event are showing pretty much a surefire hit right in the center of that wave of plasma that's now inbound. That is going to impact Earth's magnetic field, the plasmasphere, and cause a geomagnetic storm. So basically big reverberations in Earth's magnetic field in the energy environment that we live within. This alters the global electric circuit, energy flow there. We have plasma coming in from the space environment and more. This is all happening around equinox. So we have this impact expected on the 19th of March from around 1200 to 1800 universal time. And well, that's right at the beginning of equinox season. And there is a known effect with equinoxes where there is a stronger injection of energy from the space environment into the Earth energy environment, specifically our magnetosphere, plasmasphere, and ionosphere. And so we have that happening. Equinox, of course, has been known about for thousands of years as a very powerful moment in time. Every single year, we align our calendars to it. So it's already a pretty powerful energetic portal, you could call it. Now we have this falling up behind it. We can look at that shock wave here with our Halo CME model. Very clearly, Earth center direct inbound. That was a big coronal mass ejection from a fairly significant flare, not an X flare, but the size of a coronal mass ejection and how much it'll hit and impact Earth is not directly correlated to the size of the solar flare. So there is a bit of a disconnect between them at times. This is a great example of that. You know, good sized solar flare, but not gargantuan, but pretty big coronal mass ejection as we can see. And there's more than just that. We have some plasma filaments that followed up right behind it. So we had this 2.7 M-class flare. There was another 1.3 M-class flare today. You see these plasma filaments right there. There's the first one. We see that launch off. That's going Earth center and direct. They're still modeling it at this moment in time, but that looks pretty much like it's going to be impacting us. It's falling up behind that coronal mass ejection, not going to be as fast. So it will basically add into this train of plasma that's going to be coming into station. And you'll notice also a plasma filament that is connecting this sunspot with this filament there, and that launches at the same time. Check that out right there. Do you see that? Slightly below the solar equator, but it's pointed to the north. And so we have these two filaments now following in behind. Check that out again right here. You'll see it's very quick, but you'll see that plasma filament launch. Right there it is, right? See that? Okay, so now we have three different things coming in from our sun in just the past 24 hours. The initial forecast from NASA and from NOAA on this is a G2 geomagnetic storm with isolated periods of G3 storming. So a moderate geostorm, the scale rating goes from 1 to 5. This is a 2 with maybe periods of G3 storming. Well, because we're in this equinox portal, you could call it, and because of these plasma filaments, which they haven't taken into account yet, I think we're going to see a G3 storm, potentially even periods of G4 storming. That is certainly possible. We see this space weather model by NASA looking top down. We see the sun right there. There's the Earth. We do see some of the other planets as well. We're really just concerned about the Earth there. We see it coming right towards the planet, and we have our vertical view. So this is south, this is north, and we see it also aligned nicely with the ecliptic plane and therefore with the Earth as well. So looks like we have a surefire hit coming in from that coronal mass ejection, and those plasma filaments are going to be stacking on top of that. If you go here to our 211 angstrom view of the sun with our 193 filter on top, we see also this coronal hole following up behind. And so this has decayed a little bit, it looks like, since its last rotation about 28 days ago. This will be geoeffective right about here. So it's going to take about 7 to 9 days to reach that geoeffective position. So what's going to happen is we're going to have this shock wave come in, and then we'll have those plasma filaments come in right behind it. We'll see what sort of geomagnetic activity we get, but I'm thinking G3 is the most likely, and then perhaps even periods of G4. G2 is also possible. It depends really on the magnetic field configuration of this new plasma structure and structures coming in. Following up behind that, we are going to have this coronal hole high-speed stream impact. This is still right there on the equator, still quite large. It's going to come into better view as it gets closer Earth center direct. It actually is looking pretty significant. So maybe it hasn't decayed that much, actually. We'll really get a better view of that in a few days. That is going to be following up right behind. And again, we have this thing known as the Russell-McFerrin effect, whereas the semi-annual variation of geomagnetic activity based off of the orientation of Earth's tilt axis relative to the sun. During equinox, we have the tilt axis perpendicular to the sun-Earth line. During solstice, you have it parallel, either pointed towards or pointed away, right? Depending on which hemisphere you're looking at. So when it's pointed here in this perpendicular direction, Earth's magnetic field flows out like this, and therefore there's this better connection overall with the solar wind in the space environment. So you get a stronger movement and flow of energy from the space environment into the Earth plazosphere environment. So we see that during equinoctial months, the Earth is in general more effective at extracting energy from space weather. We get 40% more energy ejected into Earth's magnetosphere, resulting in 2 times more geomagnetic storms during equinoxes versus solstices. And this effect peaks slightly after each equinox. So we're really looking at the end of March and April for this to be very, very active. And electron flux can be 3 to 12 times higher during equinox than during solstice. And in general, this effect is amplified during solar maximum periods. We're just now finishing up solar maximum at the beginning of the descending phase. So this is the perfect time period for this sort of effect to really exert a significant influence on our energetic environment. And well, that is exactly what is happening. We have our differential model for this coronal mass ejection right here. You'll see it's not a great, like super clear coronal mass ejection, but we get a bit of it right here. We also get a bit right there. See that? That's that halo coronal mass ejection. It's more like a partial halo, showing that it is inbound. And again, the estimate for that is around the 19th of March. It could come in a little bit later. I would not be surprised, but that is the estimate by NOAA. We can look at their space weather model right here. We'll see this come in. So there is our coronal mass ejection. Again, top-down view. This is our south-north view, and they also have it basically lined up perfectly with our planet, showing a spike in the plasma density and also a bit of a spike in the velocity, but they're not showing it be super, super fast. We'll see it here with the velocity. Yeah, it's higher velocity than the solar wind that we are currently in, but not tremendously fast. And that's why these plasma filaments stacked on top of this makes this so interesting, because these plasma filaments also now have a higher likelihood of maybe not fully catching up to that coronal mass ejection, but getting really close behind it. So we don't get just like one impact and then we have kind of a day to recover. It could be impact, impact, impact. And what we see with geomagnetic activity is that you have this initial impact that kind of gets things going, and then additional impacts on top of that can really get that geomagnetic storm going. So if you're someone that chases aurora, or you're an aurora photographer, or you just live in a high latitude location, let's say like Northern Europe or Alaska, Canada, or for the Southern Hemisphere, southern part of New Zealand, South Africa, southern tip of South America, you may be in for a pretty good show as a result of this. This is really pretty much perfect conditions for you all. And in general, this sort of energy flux affects the Earth. So the whole magnetosphere, plasmosphere, Earth system is connected together. Energetic changes in our space environment affect the energetic system closer to the surface, our atmosphere, our lithosphere, down into the mantle and more. We've been having deep earthquakes hit the Earth at that lithosphere, asthenosphere mantle boundary, 500, 600 kilometers down, a bit more than normal. So a little anomalous, that's interesting. And we've been having some pretty crazy weather systems across the planet. So in general, with a geostorm, expect whatever weather systems that are established to be a bit more volatile than maybe an official meteorologist will forecast. So if they say 5 inches of rain, maybe expect 7 inches of rain because the whole global electric circuit gets amplified. We may see some enhanced geophysical disturbances from this. We've been having a lot of volcanic eruptions in Southeast Asia, Kamchatka. They've been getting bigger, it seems. Maybe we're looking at some significant earthquake activity. In general, this is all happening during equinox. And of course, these energies affect us too, individually and at the collective level. So things are already pretty heated up right now, right? Some people are acting really nuts, so let's just be honest. And so, you know, everyone works with this energy differently. Some people are a little bit less connected to it, or at least less conscious of how it's affecting them. Other people are very connected to it. But as this solar energy comes in, it just charges us up, our metabolism gets going, and well, expect maybe people to act a little bit more wild as a result. It's almost like a full moon effect where people act a little crazier during full moons because of that additional energy. Well, that is all in the cards here. So as we go into equinox and then the rest of March, energies are going to be heightened, and there is a tail to this too. So you have that initial impact, things really get going. It can take some time for that energy to integrate and then, you know, get processed and then how it manifests to actually manifest. You know, so it's not just a 2-day thing. It's more like a probably, you know, 7 to 10 to 14-day thing in the long run, which is why the past few years have been so exciting and energetic in many ways, because we've been hit basically nonstop with this solar maximum, a solar maximum stronger than solar cycle 24 back in the 2010s. Then you have solar minimum 2019, 2020, 2021. Things are quiet. Sure, things happen, but in general, people just aren't as kind of get up and go and a little bit more complacent. And then you get this sort of activation with solar maximum, and well, things heat up quick. So we have a lot happening at this moment in time. Now, in addition to all this, we also have a new moon on the 19th. So the moon will be positioned in between the Earth and the sun. And in general, this is also one of these things that increases the energy of the moment. And so it's not a full moon, but it's the other alignment where we get stronger tides on Earth. This is stronger ocean tides, of course. A lot of people don't know this. It's also stronger Earth tides, actual vertical displacement of the solid Earth. This creates more microfractures in the ground, and well, with certain faults, if those microfractures are significant enough, it can lead to larger slips and therefore earthquakes. And so we do see this response with the Earth in terms of earthquakes around new moons and full moons. And there's about 0.5 to 1% more earthquakes around those two phases of the moon as a result. And so we have that also happening and combining with this solar storm impact around the 19th. We have equinox then, so this is what we would call an energetic convergence. And then there are things happening after that, continuing kind of this whole progression of energy forward. Hopefully things start to cool down after this all happens in April and into May. Things maybe start to cool down June, but it remains to be seen. We're right now in a very active period. So we have a sun grazer comet coming in on April 4th, meaning it's going to get closer to the sun than the Earth-Moon separation distance. So very, very close. This is C2026 A1 maps. I've released some videos on this channel, on my Clips channel. I have an update for you on my Clips channel releasing very soon, so make sure you subscribe to that. It's linked in the video description. But that could perhaps create some energetic volatility with the sun because of how close it is. It's clearly a pretty big comet based off of the latest data. Its brightness is around 10th magnitude, getting brighter. It could even impact the sun. That is possible, not the most likely outcome, but it certainly is a possibility. We won't know until it does its perihelion, its closest approach. We also have a comet flying in, and this is C2025 R3 Pan-STARRS that will have its perihelion on the 19th of April, and then it enters into a perfect Sun, Comet, Earth alignment right around the 23rd of April or so. And well, maybe we get some enhanced solar activity then, because it's going to be just outside the orbit of Mercury, so fairly close to the sun at 0.5 astronomical units away. And we see often with comets flying in during that alignment, Sun-Earth alignment with it in the middle or nearby, we often get these launches of plasma, like these coronal mass ejections launched towards us. There seems to be something as it relates to comets interacting with the sun electromagnetically, and it all relates to plasma if you research into it. So we have that happening. Around that time too, 420 or so, we have multiple planetary geometries unfolding. I just released a video on that on the channel, but that is also going to coincide with that comet approach. So a tremendous amount happening right now. First and foremost, the blast of energy from the sun, that coronal mass ejection to plasma filaments. Then we have that high-speed stream impact. We'll see how that carries forward through March, of course, the new moon equinox, roughly the same time as well. And then April 4th, we have the perihelion of C2026 A1 maps, and then we'll see what happens in between. But then a couple weeks later, we have C2025 R3 pan-stars and significant planetary geometry in alignment. So that's kind of your longer roadmap view I wanted to give you now. If you like all this, then please subscribe to the channel and smash that thumbs up button to help this channel grow. I cover everything that happens energetically with Earth, our sun, our solar system, our cosmos. I release videos almost daily, whether it's here on my official channel or on my Clips channel. Make sure to subscribe to both to stay up to date. Thank you all so much. I've been your host, Stefan Burns, wishing each and every single one of you well. Make sure you do some grounding before, during, and after these solar impacts. Personally, I just did some more dedicated grounding over the past couple days because I just kind of got out of the rhythm. I'm traveling right now. I did it. It was a Sunday, a day of rest. I took my rest, went outside, bare feet on the grass. I actually laid down, took a nap on the lawn. And the next day, I woke up early. I could feel like the hormone surge, like the good testosterone surge. I was aligned all of a sudden with the sun rising. My circadian rhythm all of a sudden improved, had tons of energy. So these are the benefits of grounding. It's one of the simplest things you can do to improve your health and wellness, longevity. It is absolutely free. And as we have warmer weather, in a lot of places of the globe, for example, in the States, there's a big heat wave going through. And where I am right now, it's very nice and warm. Make sure you do that before, during, and after these sort of energetic impacts. It makes a big difference. It's as simple as bare feet on ground, ideally grass. Go to the park, enjoy the sun, get some sunlight on your skin. These are all good things to do. So with that, I'm wishing you all well. Have a great day, and I'll be back very soon.